I'm Vinny Politan. Great to have you with us here tonight on Closing Arguments. We've got a lot to get to. And really the big question tonight is this it? Is this the big break, the clue, the evidence that's going to lead to an arrest in the murder in Idaho? Investigators keep asking for information about a white Hyundai Elantra. Each day we hear more evidence. Maybe somebody spotted it. What's going on? Is this the key? And the real question is, why hasn't the person come forward who's driving this thing? Give me a break. Give me a break. If you own a white Hyundai Elantra, and you were anywhere near Moscow, Idaho, pick up the phone. Make the call. Unless this is huge. You know, each day that goes by, in my mind, it's getting bigger and bigger. That this could be the break. That this is it. Because as long as this person is not coming forward, come on. You can't tell me if you live anywhere in Idaho or Washington State, anywhere in that area. If you were in Moscow, you know you're in Moscow, and you know what happened in Moscow, and you know what happened the night you were there in Moscow. They want information. Maybe you saw something. Maybe. Come on. Unless you don't want investigators to know who you are and what you were doing, why else would you not come forward? To me, it's common sense. The longer this goes on, the longer unless this person just dropped off the earth or like got in a plane and flew to some other continent somewhere, you know, your friends know what kind of car you drive. Why haven't they called up? Unless you don't have any friends. Maybe you weren't from the area. But you know that you were in Moscow that night. You know it. Time's running out. Investigators are on this. They're putting resources towards it. There is pressure, obviously, to solve this case. Number one, for the families, for a sense of justice, and then for the entire community for a sense of safety, that some mass murderer's not running around loose. So they know it's a 2011 to 2013 white Hyundai Elantra. Time's running out. They're going to track everybody down that has one of those cars. Might as well come forward now. Investigators are working this lead. They are working it, putting resources behind it, asking for more help from the public. And all those people that want to help are going through security footage. They're looking for, is there anything from that night, from that day, the day before? Trust me, they're checking everywhere. Anywhere where there's a camera around there, people are checking their footage, looking for that white car. All right, Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter joining us tonight. Where is she? Okay. All right. First, let's hear from the chief.
Through our tips, through our leads, some of the evidence that came in, we start to identify patterns. And like we said earlier, we are confident that the occupant or occupants of that vehicle have information that's critical to this investigation. We also understand that even though there's sometimes a fascination with a particular case, some people simply don't see the news and may not know that we're looking for it. So if we get the word out there, hey, maybe your neighbor has one in the garage that they don't drive very often. Maybe there's one that's just not on the registration database. Let us know. So far, we have a list of approximately 22,000 registered white Hyundai Elantras that fit into our criteria that we're sorting through. That's an awful lot of information, but it may not be all of them. So the public can help us with that.
22,000 fitting that criteria. I didn't realize there were that many white Hyundai Elantras from 2011 to 2013. I think about 600,000 were sold in the whole country. Anyhow, let's bring in Chanley Painter. I was so excited. Chanley, great to see you. What do we know about the tips for this car? To me, this thing is heating up. I feel like there is some sense of momentum here. What about the tips?
Yeah, I mean, the tips are pouring in, Vinny. Police saying they worked overtime over the weekend, 24/7, trying to find the occupant or occupants of that Hyundai Elantra seen near the crime scene. We don't know how they know about this vehicle. They haven't released that many details, but they believe the person inside or the persons inside have critical information. And so we learned through a Fox News digital report on Tuesday that, yes, those local businesses, those working around the area are just pouring through their surveillance video. And so from this Fox News digital report, detectives collected 8 hours of surveillance video Tuesday morning from a gas station in Moscow where a clerk saw a white sedan passing by at 3:45 a.m. on the night of the unsolved stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students, according to store workers. An overnight assistant manager told Fox News Digital that she's been reviewing the tapes a little bit at a time over the past few days, looking for clues in her downtime on the graveyard shift. She said she was not working on the night of the actual murders, but the car in this video from this gas station drove by real quick, she said, and turned down a side street off Highway 8. So this was huge, of course. I mean, this is someone working on their downtime, pouring through. This is how interested this community is in trying to find this white Hyundai Elantra, Vinny. And so let's put up a map so that our viewers can have a better sense of where this particular gas station is and where the crime scene is in Moscow. So we have, of course, the crime scene there. We've been there many times live in front of that. And then about 4 minutes, the route in red is about a 5-minute drive. There's a couple of different ways you could get to this gas station. On Highway 8 is the main road. And then you have a couple of side streets off of Highway 8, which is also called Troy Road in Moscow. There's East White Avenue and then Steiner Avenue, right there on the corner where that gas station is. So it's unclear exactly. I'm sure the authorities know the exact direction, Vinny. This car is seen quickly speeding by at 3:49 a.m. Or 45 a.m., the window of the murders. That's why this is so pivotal. And also, if you remember, when I was actually there in Moscow, I took my photographer down the road to show you the route from the crime scene to the closest gas station. Not this exact one where the overnight clerk found the video, Vinny, but the nearest, closest gas station to that crime scene, about 2 minutes away or halfway to the one where this white car was seen. And we, of course, still have that video of that location because that would have been the first major spot that I'm sure police went to and confiscated a lot of their surveillance video because it is so close to where that home is where those 4 students were murdered. So here you can see on one side of the screen, as we pass the crime scene there on the left side of the frame, we're exiting a dead-end road. We're pulling out. It's very residential, a lot of students. Right here you can see the campus. There's the Sigma Chi house right there in the shot. At that intersection across the street, there's Band Field, where we've seen a lot of body cam video from. On the night of the murders, we're passing on the left side. And then you move campus on one side, on the left side, neighborhood apartments, homes on the right side, off-campus housing. And we continue down this main road until you reach that main gas station that we showed you. That was the closest one. Do they also have video of this white sedan? We don't know. Police aren't saying, Vinny, but it is pivotal that they have this new clue that was revealed through that Fox News digital report.
And Chanley, there's the gas station. We can see it right now. The direction that the white car is seen on Highway 8 on Troy Road, significant, because if it's seen, you know, in what would be consistent in going away from the quadruple murder, would be very telling, very telling. And you're looking at the time, 3:45 in the morning, 3:45 a.m. All of it fitting together to a certain extent. And turning down a side street, I find that fascinating, turning down a side street. that could mean someone from the area if you're going down a side street. But if you've got 22,000 that they're looking at, I'm sure they can narrow that number. We're going to talk to our investigators about that in a minute. But speaking of investigators, how many investigators, officers are working this case right now? Chanley, do we know?
I lost temporarily.
I think we lost connection to Chanley Painter. I've got some numbers up there. 6 detectives, 5 support staff, communications team. That's from the Moscow Police Department. Let's see what other resources they may have. Federal Bureau of Investigation, 46 investigators in Moscow located throughout the United States. So they're not all out there. 2 behavior analysts, unit investigators as well from the FBI. And from the state police, 13 investigators, 15 uniformed troopers assisting with community patrols for safety and ISP forensic services. Chanley is back. We have reconnected. You've got all these FBI, but I'm still looking at those numbers. And when I do those numbers and I look at 22,000 vehicles, my head explodes. Like that's tough math.
Yeah. It really is, Vinny, and they do want to make clear because there were reports that said maybe they were scaling back the resources a little bit because, again, it's been over a month. And there's public fears, family frustrations of the victims that this may be going cold or they aren't dedicating the same amount of resources. So it is apparent each press release, they want to make sure that they're telling everyone through what you just read that they have the same amount of resources working on this case even over a month later, trying to pour through all of these, tons and thousands of tips, as you know, and these 22,000 vehicles, this search area that meet the criteria. Remember, this is on the border of Idaho and Washington State. So some of these white Hyundai Elantras, they're looking at are from Washington State too, because it's so close by, and that just expands the area that the pool that they're looking for. But they have a lot of out-of-town FBI, law enforcement agencies there, and they rotate in and out, Vinny, and they just keep trying to affirm to everyone that they have an army of analysts on all sides working this 24/7.
And the other part of the Army should be the public. And I think the public is there trying to provide any information that they have. Let's talk about the family of one of the victims, Xana. Her family has now released some sort of statement.
Yeah, that's right. So her cousin, Sheldon Kernodle, has been vocal. I know that you will remember when I was there several weeks ago in Moscow that we caught up with search parties that he helped organize over the weekend. One weekend we were there, they walked through fields on campus. They handed out dozens and dozens of posters that are hanging all over town. He has, again, posted publicly that they're going to spend this next week, within this next week, he says that there are going to be over 5,000 of those posters, of those flyers that we showed you. Trying to spread the word. They're going to be back, boots on the ground, because, again, families growing frustrated in this process, trying to encourage the community to come forward and with any of these tips, right? Also, Sheldon Kernodle has announced on his social media, again, this is the cousin of a 20-year-old Xana Kernodle who was brutally stabbed, that the Kernodle family is actually starting a memorial endowment with the University of Idaho in Xana's name to honor her memory, keep her legacy alive. And they're going to be funding scholarships each year for the University of Idaho students. And the Kernodle family will match dollar for dollar donations up to $10,000. That was the big announcement in her honor, which I thought was very significant. And just an aside note, because even if I'm not always able to be there on the ground, right, as we follow this story, we've talked to so many people there. And remember Jeremy Reagan, the neighbor, lives in the apartment building right next to the crime scene. Keep in touch with him, and just an update on him because online sleuths were pointing the finger at him. He says that he's doing better, but he's getting recognized in public. But he said it's nothing negative, since we were one of those outlets who helped put out the story, why he's fighting that. He had nothing to do with this. He just wants to help in this investigation, Penny. So that's a little update as well.
Like so many others, except the driver of the white Hyundai Elantra, who doesn't seem to want to help. All right. Stand by, Charlie. I want to bring in our guest in Nashville, Tennessee, retired sergeant for the Nashville Police Department, Melissa Pinkleton, and in Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator Jason Jensen. Great to see you both. Melissa, I'm looking at this white Elantra, 0 to 10, how significant? I'm like at a 9.5 right now, about to hit 10 on how significant this is. But I look at that number, and then I hear a number of 22,000. How on earth do you approach or tackle that number?
I'm like you. I'm at about an 8 or 9 with this, and they need to stay on it, and but also not get such tunnel vision that this is the only way that they're going, the only way that they're looking. As far as narrowing it down goes, I would hope that they would start with anybody registered to that vehicle who already has a criminal history. Start narrowing those people down first, making a list of those people. Anybody who fits the suspected, I know that they had an analyst come, and a behavioral analyst, and what kind of age this person is. I would hope they would be focusing on those ages to get a list of those people through, and kind of knocking the cars out one by one like that.
Jason Jensen, what are your thoughts about the fact that this car is driving at a rapidly, then turns down a side street? Turns down a side street, not like hitting the highway and hitting the road, getting out of town, but going down a side street.
Well, from what I see from the footage from the Exxon, it really does look like it's heading east on Highway 8. So I would be focusing on any Elantras that are in the Cornwall, Avon, or the Troy areas, which are east of Moscow, or even further east is Missoula, Montana. So I'd be looking in the direction of travel.
I'm wondering if there's, Melissa, is there any way, and I don't know if our cars are all being tracked, if Big Brother is tracking us all the time. I just don't know. Is that possible? Is it maybe reaching out to Hyundai to see if they will cooperate? I know it's not a new car. It's 10, 11 years old, potentially. What are your thoughts about that approach to all this?
I think that's a great approach to it. I mean, as we all know, we're always being watched, listened to, heard, filmed. Anytime you leave your house, you're on a camera at least 100 times, whether that's just audio or video or both. And I think it would be a great idea to get together, and especially to get together with them to see what, if it's an SE or an ES, there's different models of the car. Let's work on getting down to the exact model of the car, because that could knock out a lot of the 2200 that we're looking for right now.